Hello everybody, Mariner here, and how are you? Welcome to Net That Haul for Game Week 37, double Game Week 37. We may as well just leave that D in front of GW this year, Gabe, hadn't we? How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. D is the grade that I would give my FPL season this year, so we'll leave that D just in perpetuity.
That's a good look. I don't know. I'd give you a D. I mean, you're at 120,000, was it? Did you say?
104,000 at the
104.
minute.
Sorry,
104.
Sorry, I've just done you another disservice. Sorry about that. You're already still smarting from the jibe at you last week about your Rumi Pick. So
I was as shocked as everybody when that pick came through. I couldn't believe it. Let's see. We'll see this week if we can if it means it's a turnaround and we're ending the season on a high, or if we ended in the depths that we've been in the past few weeks.
Well, look, there's only 2 weeks to go. Thank God. I mean, I have to say, I just on a personal level, this last 12 to 15 weeks. I mean, I've had a lot going on in my life, as you know, but this last few weeks has been torture for FPL. It's been so hard. And, you know, I feel quite detached from it in many senses, but the last few weeks, as I started to get engaged again, then it starts to really get to you sometimes. I've just got up and just seen what's happened overnight with Salah. And yes, thank God he's 180% EO, but it still would have been a 20% boost, or I'd have got 20% of his point. I got 20% of 1 point overnight.
Every little bit counts, especially at your rank, Mariner.
I think the only slight benefit I had was the fact that Robertson didn't play, but then Trent only got 2 points. Of course, last week when Robertson played and Trent didn't, there was a 6 point difference. Anyway, not to worry. Right. It's good to have you back, by the way. Did you have a nice break?
It was very nice, very needed, very nice, and I'm very happy to be back as well. This is it's been a long time coming, my friend. We have not done this in a little while. See if we can get our sea legs here.
It certainly has, hasn't it? So anyway, should we dive into it? And do you want to have a crack at the mini league and let people know what's going on with that, and then we'll dive into the main content for the week. So there we go. There's the mini league on the screen.
Well, there's the mini league, and we're gonna go the top 10, and we'll go from 10 to 1 this time, just to mix it up, Mariner. Because I wanted to start with Nima sneaking into the top 10 there. We have two Net That Haul hosts in the top 10, which is amazing. Nima's on a 53 with 9 to play, rising up to 24.92 on the season. Above him at 9th place we have Ticking Time Rom. This is Jack B with 40. He has 45 points with 8 to play at 25.03 on the season. Champions FC is at number 8. Bago Simanda. He's got they have a 67. 7th place Premier Leeds Melvin Lim also with a 67. Tierney's Tesco Bag coming in at number 6 with that's Tom Robinson. So 66 on the week. Some pretty decent scores given the week, I have to say. That's what she said backwards and upside down. Stefan F with 61 points and 9 to play. Some of those 67s, look at that, the 66, 67 with still 11 players to go. So we could have some hauls here in the league this week. Pfizer Chiefs Brad Curry rising up again, 71 points with 8 to play. He has 25-27 on the season. FPL Milanista Obaid, 45 this week with 6 to play, 25-34 on the season. Template FC Tiger Radigan, 41 points this week with 8 to play, 25-41 on the season. And our very own Chris Turner, the brothers Grimsby.
Grimsby?
Grimsby.
How dare you?
Hey man, it's I'm on the beach. What can I say? There's like sun in my eyes or something. You're on a 52, Mariner. 25-55. You're gonna have quite the score for the season. That's just outrageous. You'll be like 2,700. Are you shooting for 2,700?
Well, I mean,
2.5 game weeks to go.
I perhaps would have been if I'd have got a captain return this week. I don't know. I mean, look, I've took a -8 again. I'm hitting like hell trying to stay where I am. I'm playing very aggressively right now. I wanted to mention Brad, Pfizer Chiefs. He got 15 points from Luis Diaz this week. Pretty impressive. My initial thought was he jammy git, but it's actually a good pick for a free hit because he's on his free hit. Just other players who really made a big difference this week. Nketiah, thanks to Meslier in certainly 50% of his of his points, thanks to Meslier. But
Nketiah more than paid off my 12-point hit, so I'm very grateful for that.
Well, he's paid off my 8-point hit as well, to be fair. I think the only thing I'm looking at this right now, I've got 8 to play. It's not going to affect me in this mini league, but if you think you're seeing people with free hits and with the bench boost still to come, look, 11 to play. So that's where the pain can come, I think. So I'm currently ranked 62, so I've dropped from 37 to 62, but I've still got Mahrez if he turns up. But equally I've got players like Mason Mount who might come back in and hurt me on the other side. So, well, let's see how it goes. Let's say hello to a few people anyway who's in there. We have got a few people here. First of all, Kevin Rose, in absentia, actually is in bed, but he did at least leave us a question and said he'll watch it in the morning. So good morning to you, Kevin, one of our members there. FPL Trini, how are you doing? We've got Steve here. We have, who else? We've got Blue Nix, FPL. We have Blue Danube, not Danube, Nemo. Ballroom Jam. Ballroom Jam. Now, Ballroom Jam is from from our Golden Oldies League. I'm in part of that. Yes, I am a Golden Oldie. There we go. We've got Vince Guy here as well, and Critin Motomari. Hello, how are you doing? I'm not sure if there's any more. I wonder whether my thing's working properly. Maybe it is. Maybe everybody's still in bed, Gabe. Before we start, of course, please do hit that like button, smash it as it says there. Give us a subscribe as well, and yes, if you're listening to this, then do give us a 5-star review, either on Spotify. I think you can do it on Apple as well. I tend to listen on Spotify these days, Gabe. All right, it's back to you for philosophy.
Let's get started with a little reflection.
After an attempt by me last week.
So, yes, I have to commend you for that attempt. And I mentioned this in our chat. Hunter S. Thompson, one of my favorite authors, just a genius. He wrote Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. If you've not read that or seen the movie with Johnny Depp, go watch it, read that book. He's out there, though. I was surprised because this guy's mind is on a different planet. So kudos to you. That was a great one.
I thank Google.
Maybe that's the planet he's on.
Anyway, this week we've got Ludwig von Mises, or is it Mises? Is that how you pronounce it?
Ludwig von Mises. Ludwig von Mises.
Christ. Honestly, I'm still half asleep. Von instead of van. Right? Okay, carry on.
So Ludwig von Mises tells us that the quote for this FPL philosophy of the week is, "The mark of the creative mind is that it defies a part of what it has learned." And so as the season draws to a close, right, our conversations turn to the lessons we're learning this season. We look back on our decisions and the decision making and the thought process and the models we use, and we revisit everything. I think it's important to remember the role of creativity in decision making. Innovation comes from the constant interplay of learning and unlearning things, and I think this that's kind of exercise kind of opens up room for an open mind. It's a way to exercise an open mind. So I think the basic idea is the more we question what we believe, the more perspectives we will be able to see. And an open mind is one of the most powerful tools available to us. So embrace your creativity.
not quite sure whether I can associate to that or not just recently. With FPL, the creative mind is that it defies a part of what it has learned. What have we learned just recently, and what have we defied? Let's think about this. Yes. I mean, look, I know that I don't like Richarlison, and at the moment, I've defied picking him. But he got an assist, didn't he? He got that assist. And I didn't think he'd get any returns this week, so maybe I have to learn.
Maybe you have to unlearn that.
Unlearn. Maybe I have to unlearn my dislike for Richarlison, and maybe you have to unlearn your dislike for Spurs.
Yes, I think we're there. I think we're there. Acceptance.
Well, it's true, isn't it? It's true. So inherent biases, it is a tough one.
Yeah,
it is tough because it takes you a long time to get over these things.
They're so hard to see, right? Because we've built them into like our frameworks of reality, and we just accept it as that's just real.
Yeah. So Steve says here, we've learnt big at the back works this season. We'll defy it next season with Haaland.
100%. That's true.
Well, it's certainly going to shake it up again. But the thing is, Haaland going to any other team, but Man City is going to be in the same roulette.
Oh, no, he's not. No, he's not.
He's done it to everybody else.
But Outtro didn't rotate at his peak.
True enough.
At his peak with Pep, let's say.
True enough. Well, he needs not to be rotated for the cost is going to be. I'll tell you what, but at least they need to shake it up, don't they? They need to shake some of these prices up.
Holland will score over more than 30 goals. He's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
13 million.
Anyway, enough of next season. We need a break before next season, don't we?
Right.
Right, we're going to get on to the end game. It's the end game, Gabe. We are heading towards the end of the season, so let's look at the fixture difficulty, and there it is on the screen, all set up as matchups. And we're going to start, and I think it's important to start with the doublers. And one of the key doublers this week is Aston Villa. So, okay, they've got 2 home games, potentially pretty tasty matchups. But certainly without, in isolation, you would go, oh, I like the look of this, wouldn't you? You really like the look of this. But then if you look at them, and according to the fixture difficulty for FPL Haul, against Crystal Palace, Aston Villa's attacking fixture difficulty is actually slightly negative, -1. And then against Burnley, it turns round to plus 0.9. So, all right. So, Villa are the 4th best attack at home at the moment from recent fixtures. So that's home fixtures over the last 10 game weeks is how I have to do it. It's 2.5 big chances per 90. But Palace are currently ranked the best defence away from home, conceding only 0.3 big chances during that time per 90, and only a 0.8 XG average over the last 10 game weeks. So all things considered, you think, oh, that's interesting. I like the look of this. But then I'm going to throw you, and there's going to be loads of caveats this week because I think it's a caveat week. And you know me, I like numbers, but you've got to, and this is what we always say on FPL Haul, isn't it? You've got to think behind the numbers. Do the numbers ratify what you're thinking or not?
Context.
Yes, context. Palace played during that time away Southampton, Leicester, Newcastle, Watford, and Wolves. Nothing of any real difficulty, right? Not seriously, anyway. And they now have 2 flags of serious consequence, as far as I can see, unless they've changed. Last I looked, Gaeta and Guehi. And Guehi particularly is a major loss to them. I think that is out of context, that -1. Where are you on Villa at this moment, attack-wise? Just firstly, let's talk about just the way that the matchups is treating them. And then I think you want to bring in some context with respect to zonals and positioning as well for Villa.
I mean, yeah, This looking at this, it struck me. I didn't realize Palace. Did they turn it around though? Like their matchups haven't been good, but it was the opposite. So heavily the opposite earlier in the season, right? When they were so good at home and then really not very good away. I don't know if that suddenly changed, if they solidified. I do think those injuries will hurt them though. So I think they're. I wouldn't necessarily judge their attack FDR. We have it at negative 1.0 here against for Villa, right, against Palace.
Yeah.
It's probably at least 1 point higher than that, maybe a neutral of something 0.0. I would guess. And just for the podcast listeners as well, I'll read through the defensive FDR for Aston Villa against Crystal Palace is a positive 1.8.
Gabe, I was just going to say, before we go to that, if we can just very quickly, sorry about that, if we can very quickly just mention the Burnley game as well in context, right? Because I think that's another one we have to look about in context. Villa it's a better matchup, okay, against Burnley, at 0.9, so it's in the positive territory. Burnley are actually only a 10th with respect to big chances per 90 at 1.6. But they've now got no Tarkowski and no me. So all of a sudden, I mean, I'm going to say this. The stars seem to be almost aligning a little bit for Aston Villa here in a funny sort of way. I'll let you go with the defensive side of things because I think that's the other side of the context why I think Villa are actually looking quite interesting this week.
Yeah, and they're at a 1.8 positive defense at FDR against Palace at home, which is good for second best in the at least in the initial round of fixtures there for defense. Just Spurs is best at 3.3. So I don't know what it is. I think Palace have, from what I've seen, they're still creating chances. But I don't know if they're they must be lower XG chances. I like the combination though, right? If the attack is a little bit better than what we think it is, and the defense seems to be good, looking at some of their defenders could be really interesting.
No, I think you're right. I mean, you talk about Palace. I mean, really, it's obviously they're doubling as well, so I've got their stats here. But I mean, really. From my side of things, I think Palace attack is Zaha or bust. Personally, 0.87 XG per 90, 58% expected goal involvement, but no assist threat. So, I think realistically, I seem to think. I mean, look, these defensive fixture difficulties certainly are very, very interesting for Villa. I mean, the 7th best ranked, Palace are 14th, Burnley are 15th for attack away, and that's without, again, and this is again why I'm saying stars seem to be aligning, without Vidra, without J-Rod, so it looks like Weghorst is going to be nailed at least, but maybe Cornet is going to play up front, so that might create them a bit more problem, because, I mean, let's face it, if they just play a couple of wheelie bins, they'll just push forward and just they'll just push forward and leave them no spaces, nothing to run it. No one's running behind, so they're going to need to, Burnley going to need to do something. That's why I think Cornet might play up front. Yeah, but look, on the face of it, I think it looks very, very good for them. They're excellent for it. Yeah.
But talking about context, we'll add the zonal context to those. To the Villa matchups, right?
Failed by Mariner. He's left his boxes at the top of the screen. Anyway, at least you can see what I do. Right, carry on.
If we're looking at Villa against Palace, and the numbers here for those in the podcast are 4.1 from the left, which is the second highest of the game week on that side. In the center, it's 2.8, and on the right, it's 2.3. So it's significantly more attractive from an attacking perspective on the left-hand side, where they're creating more than 4 chances every match. So when we look at that side, though, it's interesting, right? Because we look at we know Dean is playing on that left-hand side. We know Watkins Sometimes he's in the middle. Sometimes he has gone on the left before. We know Jacob Ramsey sometimes runs into that left-hand side. Coutinho has been on the left-hand side. Buendia has been on the left-hand side. So who do we go for? We know the side, but everybody plays there, which is really interesting from Villa's perspective.
Yeah, and the right on the next game, the Burnley game as well. More chances on the left than the centre and the right. So it looks like the left is the place to target.
Yeah, 4.4 on the left against Burnley versus 3.6 in the center and 2.9 on the right. So even stronger. Even there's less of a difference, of a delta between the left and the others, but the left is even stronger against Burnley there.
Yeah, so, when you add them up, they're standout for the double game week, 8.5. Mm-hmm. I think the next highest is 7.3, which is Everton's left. So yeah. Looks quite hopeful. The key is though getting the right one, right?
Yes, that's the thing. Who's going to play?
Are you going to try and help us with this next comparison?
No, I don't think this will help at all. But we can talk about it anyway.
Anyway, you've got a comparison for us to look at, haven't you?
Yeah.
I know you've done a little bit of work on Villa, so I'll put that onto the screen and let you go. Yeah,
so this is the in the past two matches, Buendia, the past, I guess, 3 matches now because Villa played today. These stats were done this morning or last night or something. So they are before the Liverpool match. So this is one match each from them, and then today Coutinho played. So I think it seems like they're rotating in a very similar position. We have some heat maps up here that I'll explain for the people on the podcast. So on the first heat map we have on the left-hand side is the touches heat map. And we see it's roughly in the same area. It's just outside the box on the left-hand side. We see Coutinho is maybe a little bit wider. He gets maybe a little wider and a little further forward, whereas Buendia might be kind of like in the inside channel there on the left-hand side. And then I wanted to look at some other ones. When we go to the passes from the touch heat map to the passes received heat map, we start to see how Buendia operates more towards the center of the field, while Coutinho really stays on that left-hand side. So it makes me wonder if from a tactical perspective, if they're being used tactically. But the past 3 matches, they've rotated. They've basically alternated matches. So I'm not sure exactly yet how they're being used or what the rhyme or reason is for it. But when Dia he receives the ball from different areas of the field, certainly more from a central area. And then I wanted to see how many their successful passes in the final third, just to see kind of so it shows that the heat map in the middle shows what them receiving the pass, and then the next one shows what they do with the pass and how successful they are. And again, we see Buendia kind of spanning that whole midfield. He's involved less than Coutinho, it seems. When Coutinho's on the field, he's more of a focal point of that offense, but he is very much localized to that left-hand side, whereas Buendia operates all across. And then to get into the stats, see okay, that's kind of what's going on the field, and then what are the stats saying? I think this is this is just 2 matches, right? It's 1 match each, so we can't really go by this too much because it would be very much just looking at the results and making conclusions. But Buendia seems to have more form. He has 0.44. He had a 0.44 xG the match he played. 0.42 XA. He was all over the place. He was effective. 2 shots in the box for each of them. The 1 big chance for Buendia versus 0 for Coutinho. But we notice how Coutinho has more passes received, right? 60 passes received compared to 46 for Buendia. But Buendia maybe does more when he gets the ball. When his take-ons, it's evidenced there by his take-ons. Coutinho, while he can take people on, he's usually not going to get very far because of his age, lack of speed, and all of that. Whereas Buendia's younger, stronger, faster. So I think he can maybe penetrate some lines when it comes to dribbling better than Coutinho, and Coutinho maybe is a better passer of the ball. Mm-hmm. But again, very early, hard to tell. But these are early signs.
Yeah, it's small data set, as you say. I think so. There's pros and cons for each of them, but arguably, there's also a thought that if you're not going to get both games from them, why bother with either of them?
Exactly. Yeah, and I think there's a risk. My bet is that you would get one game from each, so they're actually both off. It'd be off the menu for me.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, we go back to the fact that Watkins apparently was hobbling when he went off. Now, does that open the gate up for Danny Ings perhaps this game week? I think again I've maybe missed him out actually earlier on, but you think about Danny Ings from a free hit perspective for sure. I don't know that I would move. I don't know that I'd burn a transfer if Watkins was injured. I don't know I'd burn a transfer to go to another Villa asset when I'm going to take them straight back out again. I'd probably just go without them, quite frankly. But
yeah, I mean, there was a period of time. I don't remember what game week it was. Remember when Coutinho went off, people brought him in for some kind of double, and he ended up playing the false nine. I believe in those matches, both Watkins and Ings were out. Ings has been playing more recently though, so I would expect Ings to start up there. But I think there could be a risk that Ings doesn't start, and Coutinho plays that false nine. And if he does, I think he automatically becomes a fantastic asset.
Oh, yeah, and I was on the wrong end of that. That was one of the few big hauls I've been on the wrong end of this season. Oh, my God. Right, okay. You've got something on the average positions as well, Gabe. You wanted to look at that. So Aston Villa against Burnley.
Yeah, so just in the Burnley match here, where Burnley can actually concede more from their left. I thought it was interesting that it looks like what Aston Villa has been doing, and we see how many players play on that left-hand side, right? So this is a graphic courtesy of TotalFootballAnalysis.com. They have some great just like visualizations and tools and magazines that they send out, and they send this after they send like team reports, match reports, and player reports after every game week. Some things that really caught my attention are, one, how high up the field Dean is. He's higher up the field than Coutinho. He's higher up the field than McGinn, and how Cash is held back. So we know, but the thing is, most of the play for Villa happens on that left-hand side, and I think what happens, those matches that Cash went off, is they drew the opposition to that side as well, and then when they draw all the pressure away, and then when that opens up for Cash, that's his cue to go, and he'll bomb up that wing. So I expect Cash to get into some space and behind there, but if we're looking at the gameplay, and most of it is on the left-hand side, so I think Dean could be involved in some of the build-up play and get something to it. It could be like the Dean to Cash kind of thing, or even Dean getting in the box himself.
Just all those people who had Luke and Dean multiple times this season. We're going to come back to this. I mean, look, I think he's not going to do anything this week. I know why he's not going to do anything. But anyway...
And I mean, look at this, is the reason why I think we bring this up is because we see how reliant Villa are playing on that left hand side, how they want to do everything from that left hand side.
Really noticeable.
And that left hand side is a good matchup for them. In both the matchups. So I think there could be a lot of goodness there, and we don't know who to get in that midfield. That's the problem.
No, I like this, and again, TotalFootballAnalysis.com. That's the tie-in that you now have, isn't it? So, do you want to give a quick shout out to what you do there for the haulers?
So we just published a video. When was it? Last week we published another video. Some more cultural elements in that one. So we're doing it every 2 weeks. We put out a video, and it's tactical data and kind of a little bit of cultural analysis of teams in different leagues or international football. And so check it out. It's a Total Football Analysis magazine YouTube channel. Check it out there at TotalFootballAnalysis.com.
Super, great. I really must give it a watch sometime. I haven't had time yet. I've been so busy. Anyway. Just an excuse as usual. You know what I'm like.
We have our our member here, Nehal, telling us that Watkins limping was a concern, but it might just be a dead leg situation. So keep an
Yeah,
eye on that news.
He wasn't. He didn't have the big red cross on SofaScore when I checked. But I did.
Okay.
I did read it on Twitter that he had a problem. So okay. So I think we've covered Villa. So I think we'd agree. Good free hit material. If you weren't free hitting, I think it's a maximum of 2 because you're going to need to offload 1. I think possibly unless you can leave them on the bench for 38.
Right.
Because this is probably the last week we'll be talking about Villa as being a decent option. I think you'd agree there.
Yep.
All right. So anyway, we'll decide to see. Haulers, let us know who you like the look of for Villa. And so we've got FPLA Plus, Daddy Ings. He likes the look of Daddy Ings. So there we go. So maybe Ings is the one for the free hit. Who knows? All right, let's move on. Well, anyway, the next doubler we're going to get to on this list is Burnley. And Burnley stands out really nicely on our fixture difficulty by a sea of red. Yes, as a former Veghorst owner, I'll refrain from swearing today. I normally change that name. Yes, minus 3.3 away at Spurs and minus 2.1 away at Villa. Cornet, the destroyer of clean sheets. Maybe the only option there. I personally think they're not a team that I would go anywhere near unless I was free hitting, and then I might go for Cornet. Are you agree? Do you agree there? Or I can't think of anyone else I'd be interested in, really.
Oh man, I don't. It's so tough, right? How many thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people that have been burned by Burnley doubles this season? You're gonna go back to that? Well, I just think I'd rather go for a good single game week player or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Look, Cornet's cheap, isn't he? And if he's playing up front, then he's an option.
Yeah,
because that's the point, isn't it? Is if he's playing up front. But no, on the face of it, hard avoid. I think I would say the next one, Crystal Palace. This is more interesting because again, Zaha has been talked up quite a lot, and even I am interested in Zaha despite these matchups, which do not look good. Minus 1.8 away at Villa, attack-wise, minus 1.7 away at Everton. Everton, again, remember, Everton at home defensively are very strong. Very strong. And Fortress Goodison, really, at this moment in time. So, look, again, it looks like Gallagher's a thing of the past, but Zaha clearly is an option. We've already said it seems like he's 58% involved in expected goals. I personally own Mateta. That was not, in hindsight, a very good move. It looked like he was fairly, as well as could consider, pretty nailed. But of course, they have that plethora of forwards who they can just rotate around, and it's been continually happening. And the other problem with Mateta is when he gets on the pitch, when he has a chance, he misses. He misses everything. So he's not like a Vidra, who I've had in the past, a player like Vidra, who perhaps rotates a bit, but at least when he gets a chance, he sticks it away. But no, Mateta seems not to be doing much at all. So he might leave my team despite this double this week. I'm tempted to go. I can go sideways. I say sideways. I can go to Richarlison. Did you hear that? I can go to Richarlison. Yeah, I'll repeat that again. I am considering Richarlison.
You'll have to unlearn some things first.
Yeah, I'm unlearning things quick. But yeah, that's an option. But no, I mean, looking at that, I don't particularly like Palace. And even the defensive side of things, Gabe, look, they've got 2 positive matchups for defence, but we've already caveated their team. Guehi and Gaeta possibly injured. So those matchups maybe don't look as good. And, of course, one of the reasons that they have a good matchup is just how bad Everton have been at home. And Everton are fighting for their lives.
And this is it's an Everton team. It's an Everton club with a new spirit, and I think the the past 10 game weeks doesn't reflect the Everton that's playing right now necessarily.
No.
So just the way you said that things are kind of aligning for Aston Villa, it seems like it's the opposite for Palace. They're a game week where things are just misaligning kind of a little bit everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not quite sure. I mean, look, Zaha is by no means, it is still a good free, but potentially a good free hit option, I think. And the thing is with them, at least they have an easy game in game week 38 because they play Man United. Evil laugh. They've got the new evil laugh for sure. Anyway, there we go. Okay, so I think I certainly wouldn't consider, I think, bringing one in actually in the normal, just from perspective of just without a free hit personally, although I might be swayed on Zaha if I have a problems elsewhere. Let's go on to Everton. So, all right. Again, we keep caveating. My fixture difficulty does not like Everton. It hasn't liked them for a long time, and probably rightly so, because their numbers have been pretty bad. And that's what this fixture difficulty works on. But again, there are caveats, as we've said. So they're playing Brentford, all right? And that's a slightly negative fixture difficulty for attack, minus 0.8. And then, of course, Palace is, well, massively minus, as I said, minus 3.2. Looking at Brentford first, they're sort of like mid-table, conceding around 2 big chances per 90. But Everton are still bottom, despite the improvements. But they are improving to 1 big chance per 90, but still only 0.67 XG. But it's Goodison, and it's going to be absolutely rocking, right? We've already talked about Palace as well. Let's look at some of that. I mean, Richarlison. Let's look at Richarlison now. He is as mad as a box of frogs. He hasn't been sent off yet. That's a good thing. 67% expected goal involvement at home for the last 6 home games in the last 6 game weeks. So this is like more narrowed down game. We're looking at more recent, probably recency bias, if you want to call it. 1.04 big chances per 90 on penalties. Gordon, who is seen perhaps as a ability to cover Richarlison, I'm not sure. I don't think you can. 48% expected goal involvement, 0.13 XG, so that totals 0.36 assists as well. And then you've got that prick Gray, 26% expected goal involvement, 0.11 XG, 0.4 expected assists. Is Richarlison essential this week, Gabe? I can't believe I just said that. Shoot me now.
It's not what I was expecting you to say. It's not what I was expecting you to say. I mean, he's a legit good pick. We have to admit that he was a good pick for this past game week. He got his assist.
Don't watch the rest of that at all. Don't. I'm telling you now, if you know anything about our captaincy metric, the moment you see those fixture difficulties, you know he is nowhere in the metric. I don't mind letting you know that right now. But I just think, again, this is where the beauty of it with these numbers is you've got to look at it in context. Sometimes you go with them, and sometimes I think maybe you don't. I can't believe that they're negative in real terms. I don't think they're massively positive, these fixture difficulties in real terms for Richarlison, but I think they're positive.
I mean, I would see them both as somewhat neutral, just because of the unpredictability of Everton. The Everton that we've seen recently is very recent, and we don't know that they can keep it up.
Yeah, you'd think not, but look, you know how it goes. Well, at the moment, it becomes. I mean, we've got possessed Pickford for sake of argument in the team, right? We'll come on to defence in a minute, but he's playing like a man possessed.
Yes,
trying to, and that's what it takes. It takes this I'm going to take one ball square in the face to keep a ball to stop us conceding. I'm going to run that extra mile. Richarlison, the problem with Richarlison, it always worries me, is he's got that red mist which could descend. So he's got to control that, because if he doesn't, there's something in the next 2 or 3 game weeks is going to be very close to getting sent off, I would imagine.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just the way it goes.
For the record, I mean, I actually think Everton will keep it up and will stay up in the Premier League, but I'm not very confident in that. And I think, on free hit, even all of that said, on free hit, I would have Richarlison. I'd probably have Pickford, and then Gordon is so cheap that why not, right? So they're easy to triple up on free hit.
On free hit they are, but but again, then they've got Everton away, Arsenal away in 38, I should say.
Exactly.
And that really means if they need something, do they need something in that last game? Because if they need something, then I'd probably keep Richarlison if I owned him for sake of argument. But if not, I'd probably ship him.
I think they're going to need something. They're going to need something all the way through.
Although Leeds are absolutely bloody awful at the moment, but there's another story.
Leeds are going down.
Yeah. Defence-wise, say, look at Everton's defence. It's a different story because these are home games. Only very slightly negative against Brentford, basically neutral against Brentford. But they do have a positive matchup against Palace. So, of course, I mean, Pickford. Possessed Pickford. The Mariner pick of the week. The Mariner Rumi pick of the week. That's what it would have been if it would have been me.
Well,
because the bloke is playing like is playing like, he's out of his skin at this moment in time. Yeah, of course, he's one disaster away from being Jordan Pickford again, right? But maybe he's decided to pull his England shirt on for a change rather than his Everton one.
Yeah, he's wearing it underneath.
Yeah. But he looks, to be quite honest, a free hit, I think Jordan Pickford is by far the best goalkeeper option this week. That's me. That's where I am on a free hit, if I was on a free hit. What about Mikolenko?
So you would go Jordan Pickford over Martinez?
Yes.
Interesting. Pickford over Lloris?
I will probably try to serve some. Mind you, Lloris, single game week, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I really like him because I think you might want to. The reason I like Pickford is because I'd probably go cash.
Right.
So I'd probably go cash, you see. So I'd have both. I'd have cover of both, but I'd prefer someone like Cash or maybe even Dean, right? Poor Tom, who got the assist. I'm not taking the piss out, to be honest. We've had a few conversations about Luca Dean. Mikolenko, let's quickly cover him. What a goal, by the way. Super goal.
Yeah, he's been playing really well lately. He's been getting in really nice attacking positions. He's in and around like the area, like the just outside the box. It was a good hit.
Yeah, and he's probably got a bit of in-goal involvement, not an awful lot. But when Pickford, for example, is his stats, I forgot the stats, but I think it's important to throw these out there because I think it benefits all the defence. Clearly, his expected goals conceded in the last 6 game weeks at home was 1.22 per 90. He actually conceded 0.33 per 90. 75% improvement, roughly.
Yeah, he has been possessed for sure. Although I would argue that the other save, the one where he's running from post to post, was more impressive. He didn't really have much say about that face one.
I know, but the face one for me is the one that stands out because it made me laugh.
Fair enough. It made you laugh.
But yeah, I think, look, Everton, I think, good shouts. I think Mikolenko, Pickford, Holgate, I benched him, and someone told me he scored against Leicester last year. The same way, actually, as it happened, by the sound of things. Can't remember who told me. Thanks for telling me. Sorry I didn't listen. First on the bench, staying on the bench as well. The issue with Holgate, of course, is Godfrey. Is Godfrey going to be back? Because if Godfrey's back, that could affect Holgate's minutes. But I don't know the answer. But I will probably be playing Holgate in 37 in the hope that unless I get a rumour that Godfrey's back. All right. I think we've covered Everton. I think they needed covering, didn't they?
Yep. Yeah.
All right. So
Leicester.
Where else are we going to go? I thought I had some notes on Leicester, but I seem to have deleted them.
Leicester, yeah.
I'm sure I made some notes on Leicester, but they're not there. Anyway, who cares? Leicester's fixture difficulties, -1.7 and -1.7, both away games at Watford and Chelsea for attack. I don't. Is Maddison going to play? Is Maddison actually fit? Is Maddison even involved anymore this season? Because he seems to be the chief troll master general at this moment. And then don't even start you on Harvey Barnes. Gabe, where are you on Leicester? Where are you on Leicester? I'm on Schmeichel as a goalkeeper. Mistake.
All the Leicester mids have become Harvey Barnes for me. That's where I am on Leicester. Fuck those Leicester mids, man. You can't. It's like whack-a-mole. They're always popping up, and you never know who's gonna do what. And I have to say, Brendan Rodgers it's such a disappointment of a season for Brendan Rodgers. But what I like about Leicester is I think I wouldn't mind a sneaky little defensive pick. Like they're playing if they're gonna play the three at the back, right? I think Castagne in that advanced role where Dewsbury Hall was playing on the left-hand side and Castagne was playing on the right in that advanced role. I think he could get something there. He could get an attacking return and a clean sheet against Watford. There it is. Leicester against Watford, 4.2 in the zonal matchups on the right-hand side compared to 3.3 down the center and 2.3 on the left. I like that 4.2 a lot. And I have to say that the right-hand side up against Chelsea, who's going to play left back for Chelsea?
Who's it going to be?
Whoever it is, it's not going to be good.
Well, it probably is, isn't it? Unless he's fallen out. We won't be playing left back if it's him.
It could be Saul Niguez. It could be
Alonso.
Could be your friend Dave.
Or Alonso won't be playing left back if he's. He'll either not be playing left back because he's fallen out with Tuchel, right. or he'll be playing in the final third.
Yeah, exactly. So so that matchup against Chelsea, I don't mind it so much either. So I think Castagne could be an interesting pick on free hit.
Yeah, they look a bit leaky to me, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Where are you? Just very quickly, where are you on Chelsea at this moment in time defensively? What would you do with Reece James?
I own Reece James. Yeah, I don't have the luxury.
Yeah, you have the luxury of having someone who moves from wing back to left to the right side of centre of a back three.
On a team
through the game.
On a team with a manager that keeps making tactical mistakes and substitution mistakes, and they're just conceding left and right, and they're now. Yeah, I thought maybe we would see something different with the new owner showing up there at the game, and I know it can't be easy the transition that they've been through with Abramovich and the sanctions, but I think that they'll just hang on to third. They can't wait for the season to be over.
Right. I really don't know what to do with Reece James. He's hurt me so many times this season. You can just sense if it's one of those ones where you have that. You hold him, at least you're covered. But if not, I don't know. I could downgrade him to a Sessegnon perhaps, which is something I'm really quite keen on, and give me some money to do something somewhere else. All right, let's quickly move back to the fixture difficulty. We'll just finish off here because I think now we're on to the single game weekers. And right, Arsenal. Away at Newcastle, -1.9. I think that's one of the first fixture difficulties I actually agree with today.
No caveats.
Yeah, no caveats. I think Arsenal have a tough attacking fixture away at Newcastle. Newcastle have been very, very good. They're ranked 4th fixture difficulty, conceding 0.8 big chances. Arsenal are only 14th best away from home attacking, creating 1.2 per 90. So, as a Nketiah owner, and a very happy Nketiah owner, thank you, Melier, again, 50% of his returns, in fact, more than 50%, because probably locked his bonus in as well. I think I'll bench him. Or sell him. There we go.
Sell him for Richarlison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James down, Nketiah up, or Mateta up. Might hold a Nketiah because I hate Mateta now.
Surely you have to sell Mateta and keep Nketiah. I mean, Nketiah, he's so cheap.
I think the EO play is to keep Nketiah because I think he's so highly owned. I think the thing is, though, I think he'll be on the bench a lot. But a lot of people will bench him this week. In fact, a lot of people will bench Arsenal assets. My bus team has 3 Arsenal assets on the bench at this moment in time. Obviously, White's still knackered, but it has Saka and Nketiah, even Saka on the bench. I didn't think he had a particularly good game at the week. He didn't look very good this weekend, I thought.
No, ponderous again, but it happens. He's he's young. He's still a good asset. FPL Robbie, another member here that just joined us, says Newcastle Arsenal is a good 0-0 game. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, it would be all right if I had Ben White, if he was fit, but he isn't. Anyway, never mind. So Arsenal could be bench fodder this week. Liverpool, okay, well they've just won overnight. They've got the FA Cup final to come, which is always a bit of a concern, right? We never know that's going to go to 120 minutes. Could easily go to 100 and go to extra time. Is Salah going to lose another penalty shootout this season? Or is Mane going to win another? Whichever way. But yeah, Liverpool, 2.2 attack, 4th best away, 2.25 big chances. That's plus 2.2 attack, I should say. 2.25 big chances, 1.95 XG. Southampton are 4th worst in defence at home, conceding 2.5 big chances per 90. Southampton are terrible. That's where I am at this moment in time. Liverpool defensively, plus 1.5. 3rd best, only conceding 1 big chance per 90 against Southampton at home, who are 11th best attack-wise at 1.67. So they've got a little bit of something going forwards of Southampton, but not a lot. I'm surprised that matchup is as low as it is. I thought it would be higher. I quite like this matchup. I am concerned about the fact that obviously it's coming so close after, I would say relatively close after the cup final. But the issue is that at least Salah's had his rest now. So that's one thing, which brings him, I think, firmly into captaincy shout, even as a single player, even as a single game weeker. I've seen there's been a few chit chats about selling Salah. Please sell Salah. I don't mind that. I don't mind you selling Salah, guys, because I need to get more out of him than I'm currently getting. But there we go. He doesn't become a bad pick just because he's been rested this week. Yes, problem is 2 days rest between the final and Southampton. I agree, but I can't see Salah resting. That's where I see that now. I can see other players resting. So some of the players who, so Robertson will probably come back in and play both. I think Trent's had a rest recently. I'm not too worried about them. You can see Diaz could probably struggle, but he might not get in there. Maybe Mane. That's his old team, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Against his old team. Resting Mane against his old team. Who knows? Where are you on this?
I mean, I think Liverpool is. It's almost like a boring conversation because they speak for themselves. Like the ones you have, and that's what you're going with. If you're free hitting, I don't know. I still think for example, Matip is one of the best picks you can in the game. I've owned him since my Wildcard in 28 or something, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Great pick.
Scored again, obviously. So I would probably go with a Matip. He hasn't been rotated so far, and I don't know. You might want to go with like a heavier defense, like a Matip and Robbo, for example, and then you could approach it that way. I would have no problem with that.
The ballsy pick would be someone like Firmino on a free hit.
That's a tough one, right? Because we haven't seen him really be an impact for a long time.
I think it's too early. I think it's too early. I'm just throwing a player out who could actually get a game, after the cup final. He probably won't play in the cup final. I don't think he might come on as an impact. Might come on as an impact sub, perhaps, but I can't see that. So yeah. Anyway, let's not go too deep into Liverpool. We've spoken about Chelsea already, haven't we? In a sense, I don't think we need to really go into Chelsea too much detail. They do have a positive matchup against Leicester, more for defence than for attack. But we know what's happening there at the moment with respect to it. That, to me, they just look they've no momentum at all, and maybe they'll recover that momentum against Leeds. Which worries me greatly, having sold Mason Mount for Mahrez. But anyway, there's another story.
I mean, one thing I'll just really quickly on Leeds is in the second half they basically gave up attacking almost, and they were able to kind of keep things tight. It's like Leeds have to they can't attack and defend. They can only play like half the game. It's like we'll either attack or defend, but we're not going to do both, kind of thing. And so I don't know which team Jesse Marsch is going to put out. I don't know if Jesse Marsch is, how much longer he'll even be with the team. I don't know if he's a consideration if he's on the hot seat or something. I
mean, zonals for Chelsea are all pretty 4 on the left, 4.3 down the middle, and 3.8 on the right. Nothing particularly jumps out there. I don't know. I mean, people are owning players like Mason Mount, aren't they? And people have still got Mason Mount. He's not a bad pick for the rest of the season, without a doubt. But I just felt like I wanted to shake it up and try and give it a go. And hopefully Mahrez might pay off this before the end of this game week. If not, then lick my wounds and move on. That's all you can do, isn't it? Right. Okay. Your nemesis side will finish with, Gabe.
Yes.
We'll finish with Spurs. So, attack. They have a positive 2.8 fixture difficulty. They are second best with respect to the fixture difficulty, the 1 to 7 fixture difficulty at 0.4. Very, very strong now. I've not shown that for a while. I'll put that up for members for next week. And 4.2 big chances per 90. 4.2 big chances per 90 at home with an XG of 2.17 against Burnley, who are ravaged with injuries, as we've said, and centre-backless, if that's a word. Defensively, they're plus 3.3, even better. They're top for big chances conceded now at 0.4 per 90 against Burnley without Vidra and J-Rod and only having Cornet and the dustbin. The wheelie bin. Weghorst. Wheelie Weghorst. That's his new name. Shit Peter Crouch. That would be a great song. Someone needs to start that off at the weekend. You just shit Peter Crouch. Come on, Spurs fans. Anyway, just looking at these two sets, I've got some numbers. I'm going to give you Kane and Son's numbers. Son, 56% expected goal involvement, an XG of 0.6, an XA of 0.47, gives 1.07 expected XI. So if you add them both together. Kane, 49% expected goal involvement, expected goals of 0.39, and XA of 0.33. That adds up to 0.72. So Son is 30% better with respect to involvement than Kane at this time. he also gets an extra point for a goal, and he gets a point for a clean sheet. So that's my decision this week. That's where I would go. If I had to look at between one or the other, it would be Son. But you could argue that with the fact that the centre halves have vanished from Burnley's team, is that playing into Kane? What's your perspective on that?
I haven't looked at Kane's heat map in a little while, so I don't know if he's even occupying that area where those two center backs are, or if he continues to check in the midfield as Son runs around maybe into that area. I think Son
playing 10 yards. It's sort of like playing 10 yards in front of the center half at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Son maybe. That may be more an area for Son, even though he does obviously start on the left-hand side. I think he's the obvious pick from Spurs. But you mentioned Sessegnon, and I wonder if he'll finally get his chance to be nailed in that team. I think he has arguably been their best wing-back this season, or at least has had the highest highs. Doherty apologists are revolting right now, but still.
Taking Doherty out, he's the only one really who's offered any form of threat in the last few weeks, actually, looking at the numbers. But you're right, Sessegnon, he's 4.3. I mean, he's potentially a brilliant way into that defence. And look, they play Norwich next week. No, the risk is, I was listening to Planet FPL and James mentioned this week. He said, look, Sessegnon's great. He said, but don't make sure he don't get injured, because he's a player who plays two or three games, then gets a knock, and then he's out again. So that's the risk with Sessegnon, I think. And so but you go in with it eyes wide open. You can pay a little bit more to get Davis, or a little bit more for Emerson Royale, who apparently had a cracking game last week. But it doesn't numbers wise, I didn't really see it, but I didn't really watch the game. But yeah, the one player we've just missed, and I'm going to bring him up anyway, is Kulusevski. His numbers do not support what he is doing.
Neither does the eye test.
But he is doing it, and he is not leaving my team for that reason. And I will, with all likelihood, be trebling up on Spurs 37 and 38. It's likely going to be Son, Kulusevski, and probably Sessegnon.
I mean, we've been speaking about Kulusevski for weeks now as a player that somebody that I haven't been a fan of his technique, certainly his finishing technique. Granted, he is quite young. I think he's only 21 years old. But as an FPL asset, I think he's been a good asset. Even while blanking, he's cheap enough that you can bench him and you can ride out those blanks. And he's around and he's returning. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, right. So I think we've done the matchups for this week. So I think that's excellent. I think we've covered quite a lot there. I mean, we'll just have a quick look through. So we just need to probably just shout a few more people out who have joined since we got in, and then we'll crack on, I suppose, Gabe.
Including some members that I think.
Let's have a quick look. So who have we got in members? So where I've got Sparrows. So we've got Vince in as well. I'm not sure if I said Vince was here. We have Steve, FPL Jones bloke. How are you doing? K Pillsworth 1904. We'll come to these questions later. We've got Nehal, obviously. Watkins was limping. Yeah, we mentioned that earlier. Tim Wright. Evening, fellas. Hello, Tim. It's morning here. But anyway, there we go. Daniel Witter. And we've got the FPL Sandwich podcast. Where's Nima? He's having a week off. Nima has been manning the wheelhouse whilst I was sick, and it deserved a well-earned week off because I am not on next week because I'm in Dubai. I travel tonight and I'm not going to be able to do the show from a hotel room with a screaming baby. And I'm going to be in the air for the deadline. That's another problem, eh? Anyway, not to worry. So who else have we got in? We've got just flicking down, trying to find the Fantasy Pavilion. Big up the NTH family. Yeah, how are you doing, mate? FPL Robbie's here. FPL A Plus. Who else? I think that's about it for now, unless I see anybody else. I quickly flick down.
We had a few that...
Jared's here. There we go.
Yeah.
And Raj. How are you doing, guys? So, Gabe, back to you, because we have a Rumi Pick to talk about.
Time for a little more reflection.
Are you ready? Are you really ready, callers?
Let's unlearn some things.
Because this one is bound to go wrong.
There it is. Monsieur Lucadine, the FPL Lens Rumi Pick of the Week, much to everybody's heartbreak. And that's why the quote is apt here today, Mariner. It says, "Oh, happy the soul that saw its own faults." And all I see in FPL these days are my faults this season, Mariner. As I'm seeing these faults, seeing these faults, that kind of releases me from them, and that release, that freedom, is an experience of joy. And that, and the fact that I'm seeing the faults from the FPL beach, so I can say fuck it.
I was looking at the Rumi in the corner there. I thought he had his head. I was thinking about his hands on his head.
It's like, oh my god!
I can't believe that you've picked Luca Dean. You've done for me again, Gabe. You've done for me.
I like that left-hand side. We talked about it earlier. I like the defensive matchup for Villa in both of those matchups, and that left-hand side, I think, could give them a lot of goodness for Villa.
Yeah.
So,
and apparently you're getting ready for WWF. So if that's the case, people are ready to wrestle you.
I'm not sure what that means. I'm getting ready to surf, like my surfing Sasquatch here.
Surfing hat, right? Yeah, well, you got your beach hat, haven't you? You got your beach hat. Yeah, I've got mine as well. Although I'm not on the beach this year. Normally by this time of year, I'm on the beach.
We're on the beach.
Yeah, I've got this ready for Dubai. Although it's a bit small now, my head's too big.
It makes me wonder. I don't know why I ever leave. I should stay on the beach. That's the lesson that I need to learn.
Anyway, let's see what people are saying. We've got FPL A Plus, Rumi, he likes it. General Zod's here. Dean, great pick. Just OMG, not again. I totally agree with you. I mean, look, the good thing about it is you can bring him in on a free hit. If you've got a free hit, you can bring him in because the next week he's gone again. So you don't have to rage him out. He gets automatically raged out. So it's perfect, right? Oh my, oh my, oh my. So there we go. Anyway, let's see how that goes. It could work, Gabe. It could work.
I think your models suggest that it could work. Just one time, just this one time.
I mean, you know me with models this week. Everything I've seen on the models, I don't agree with.
Yeah, caveat.
Pretty much, anyway. So,
that's why General Zod's comment is so good, because he's like, Dini is a great pick, but it's a shit pick. So it comes with a caveat. So it's fitting with the theme of our show today.
Yeah. Well, we're getting some things right on that whole. We are getting some things right. One thing we are getting right is the captaincy picks. We're back up over 80%. Cancelo. There you go. Guess who owns Cancelo? Guess who captains Salah? Me. I really should listen to this captaincy metric more often.
Wasn't De Bruyne? Oh no, Cancelo. De Bruyne was the week before. That's right.
Yeah, Cancelo was the pick last week. So yeah. Anyway, look, it is what it is. We can't do much about it now. We've still got another game to go. City's defence is in a bit of a mess. I think that in a sense, that cements his position in the team. Out of the Champions League as well. I think he's as nailed can get, probably.
A la Madrid.
And it was a great pick. And yeah, so we're up to 81%. So we are over that magic, and we need one more return to guarantee an 80% return for the season. One more. Who's it going to be this week? Who is the metric going for? Let's have a look. And I'm going to tell you now, it is not Richarlison. Ready? There we go.
The king is back.
It is Mo Salah. The matchup is just good enough to hold off Son, who is in second. The metric likes single game weekers. It doesn't like double game weekers. And I think if you go back to what we saw earlier, you can see why. Because none of those matchups were particularly favourable, were they?
Right.
That's what it's going for. So the metric's looking at Salah. It likes Son over Kane. Okay. So I think Salah, Son, Kane. 1, 2, 3. Why? Well, first things first. Whilst Son and Kane have more hauls, Salah, with respect to predicted goals, has 83%, or 8.83 actually, 0.83 goals in the match, right? And 44 assists and a bit more clean sheet as well. So that all just adds up to just push Salah just slightly above Son, who is 61 for a goal, 41 for assist, 41 for a clean sheet. And of course, Kane's 80% for a goal, 24, but no clean sheet requirements. And remember, with a captaincy, it does take into account that clean sheet possibility. So if there is a possibility of clean sheet, it has to count in this metric, doesn't it? Let's look at the others, though, Gabe. And I'm just hunting down for the comments, right? Punt on Mane. I would be careful with that because there's the FA Cup final. Is he due a rest? I don't know. The first double game weeker down there is Watkins. And Watkins has already starred in our metric in recent weeks, admittingly as a vice captain. But he has 0.72, this is from Hub, by the way, 0.72 expected goals, 0.64 expected assists. They are solid numbers. Very solid numbers. So that's the first one, but he's got a knock. Then we've got players like De Bruyne, Jota. You've got to go quite a way down to find Richarlison. A long way down. Interestingly, Gabe, and this is what jumps out at me, and I don't know if it's changed. I don't know if anybody could check, but the last I looked, when I did this, Richarlison's goal and assist, this is on Hub, is only 0.62 and 0.31. Even they don't like him. Do you see what I mean? The fixture difficulty doesn't like him. It's got a solid chance of a return, don't get me wrong, but he's not as high as some of the other single game weekers.
I think for me that's the problem with Richarlison is that it's we always say it's net that haul, not net that return, and I think Richarlison has return written all over him. But is he going to haul really?
Yeah,
I
mean, look, Andy's here. Hi, Andy. He's saying Richarlison is so easy. Do you know what? If we change the fixed difficulty to 120, he would be right up there. If we changed it to neutral, he would be around Watkins. He's still not in our thoughts. I'm not saying he won't return. And I may still bring him in, but I don't know whether I'd captain him. I think the captaincy is more of a doubt. The only way I would captain him is if the expected captaincy is EO is so high, I may have to do that to protect rank in case he does go off in my position, which is shooting for a top 50 finish, I think now realistically is what I'm doing. So interesting to see. What comments have we got, Gabe? Who's saying what in there? So Richarlison's so low. Yeah, he is.
We have member FPL Robbie saying Richarlison is low, and he is the talk of the town right now, certainly in the FPL community on Twitter, and people rate him highly. They love that double. They're enamored with it.
Yeah, and there we go. This is a great point, and that's the problem with a free hit. so many chances for the original team can outscore your free hit team.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of that in it, and it's going to be one of those. It's going to be an interesting week. I'm going to put it out there. I'm not too confident on these double game weekers this week. I think yes, there are caveats where you can look at them. I think Villa are probably the best bet if you asked me. I think Richarlison. I think yes, by all means, 2 home games, Goodison Park rocking. There's a lot to say. As much as I opposed him last week, I don't think I can oppose him. I don't think I can oppose him this week with any comfort. So it may be that I will be forced to bring Richarlison in just to protect things.
Will you follow the metric? Will you captain Salah?
It depends. Very much depends on what happens at the weekend, I think. 120 minutes, maybe not. Extra time. No, I won't be able to make a decision. Well, yes, I will. 'Cause it's Sunday. Because the deadline's Sunday, isn't it?
Right. Saturday
so we've got the ability to be able to look at that, thinking about it. So, I think I'll look at that. I am very keen on Son. I think if I was going to captain it at this moment in time, I think Son would be my captain. At this moment in time.
I agree with you. I think I'll probably bring Son in and captain him as well.
Yeah. We've got Blue Danube guys captaining Son. Richarlison up against the Pontus Janssen wall. Blue Nix loves Kane this week.
What I like about Son is look at the haul percentage at 33%, and then also the return percentage at 58%. Both of those are better than Salah.
Yeah.
And let's see, what's dragging him down, I wonder.
Dragging Son down, that probably the goal.
Yep.
Because remember, you get that extra point for the goal, right? And it's set up. This is set up now in it weights the goals, assists, and clean sheets by position.
Well, they're both midfielders, so
yeah. But the goal, it's less. So he's just got a lower. He's just got a lower rank, right? He's just got slightly lower. He's 20 lower, isn't he? And he's slightly lower on clean sheet, but slightly higher on fixture difficulty. Fixture difficulty accounts for around 50% of the overall number.
And it's better. So Son has a higher haul percentage, higher return percentage,
borderline.
And it's better FDR.
Yeah.
So
it's goal. It's the goal. It's the predicted, I think. Looks to be that.
And that predicted goal comes from
Hub,
right?
Yeah.
So again, to add context to these, I don't know, that's using somebody else's prediction.
But we have to try and drag something. I mean, I've used things like Draft Hound before now. But I shouldn't really have said the name, quite frankly. I should have said a prediction site. But anyway, there we go. But I've used them before now. I just think it just adds context to it. The other thing, what it does is Hub predicts minutes as well, because partly it's to do with minutes. So that's actually quite useful because they've took the rotation. The rotation isn't in this now. The rotation's out. So it's doing it the other way around. So for that reason, it just gives us a bit more context and maybe one or two less moving parts, I think you have to look at it from the expected minutes. But saying that, I don't always agree with the expected minutes either.
Yeah, I mean, if Kane has the goals at 80, right, at 0.8,
yeah,
I would say Son then kind of deserves a similar rating there from Hub. And if Son gets that rating, then Son goes top of the metric.
Yeah.
So it's just to add context.
You make your own mind up. You make your own mind up. I mean, look, what we might do in future for next season is we might go into a ranking sort of thing where we put all the numbers in and then rank them who comes first, second, third, fourth for all the different ranks, and maybe do it that way rather than doing it in a which then we have to decide which one's the most important or whether we just all give them equal ranks. Right. And see if that works. That's maybe a way that I'm thinking about for next season. I've obviously mentioned to the members in the in the chat on the YouTube channel. If you've got any ideas of how we can improve it, then by all means do let us know. Because we're obviously keen to try and improve it as far as we can. Right, 1 hour 20, Gabe. Let's get some questions, and then let's try and get out of here in a relatively reasonable sort of time.
Sure thing.
So, okay, so we start with Kevin then. So Kevin Rose, FPL Safa, member of Haul. Would be great to get your thoughts on Coutinho to Zaha and Watkins to DCL for a -4, or just do one of the moves for free. Wow. I think what we've actually said so far is probably don't do it.
Well, if here's the thing, if you think Coutinho might only get one game,
yes,
I think I'd probably do Coutinho to Zaha and just hope Watkins is fit and don't do the DCL move and don't.
But you did caveat the fact that if Watkins isn't fit, then Coutinho could play up top, or could it be Danny Ings?
Yeah, and that's an uncertainty. Or he might just play one match. He could play up top and he has a high ceiling, or he plays one match and he has a very low floor. And do you want to get into that kind of variance?
I mean, Palace matchups are not particularly good, but Zaha is involved in anything more often than not, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's a decent hold for 38, so because he's playing Manchester United.
His former club.
That could be 4-0 again, couldn't it? That could be 4-0. Anyway, there we go. Right, okay. Are you going to go down the questions? Can you see them?
Yeah, sure. I'm went from the top. I'm moving down here. And if you want to go from the bottom and go up,
go top down. Go top down if you want.
Top down. Okay. And just while I'm doing this, if you are still in the chat, we have 24 people in there. Please remember to like, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your family, show us some love. And get your questions in there, so we can get to them here.
Just getting down there, lots of.
You know what's happening.
There's lots of chit chat. That's great.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Somebody asked the question, and then our haulers are so helpful that everyone's jumping in and giving their thoughts and stuff. So here's BlueNix _FPL writes in. He says, current thought on Salah is who is providing for Salah? Diaz, Mane, Jota, Thiago. As good as Liverpool are, he seems to have to make his own choices. I think Salah, he kind of like makes things on his own. It's like a long diagonal ball to Salah, and then he goes and tries to do something.
Yeah, there's a question here. It's not so much a question. Was it already mentioned from FPL Robbie? Was it already mentioned about Ings of Watkins? If Watkins is iffy, I think. We did mention it, but we also mentioned the fact that Coutinho could play up there as well. So, but I quite like that Ings. I quite like that Ings shout for a free hit, because he looks like he's quite impactful at this moment in time, isn't he? He seems to be, even if he comes off the bench, he's getting involved very quickly.
Mm-hmm. He is. So, I do see him as I think he's a little rusty in front of goal. I don't think he looks entirely confident when it comes to the final product there. But he has been involved in all of those situations more frequently than he had earlier in the season.
FPL A+, who was the first double game week player listed on the metric? It was Watkins. Okay, just keep going down. Any more questions, guys? Let's see.
What was this one?
There's one. Having an incredible double game week 36. How do I stop being smug? This is from Joe Brackett. Right. Joe, the way you stop being smug is next week when you have some pain. This week, enjoy it.
That's right.
You've got to enjoy it, right? Haven't you? If you don't enjoy, if you can't be smug now, when can you be? If you're having a great game week, there we go. Hope
Brad Curry's in the house.
Fine. There's no more questions. Have we answered everything?
We've answered everything that they've given us, but just wanted to say hi to Brad Curry. Obviously, when in the top 5 there in the mini league, having himself a week.
We can take a couple more. Here we go. Here comes the questions now. We can take a few more now. We've got FPL Dallas. This is one for you, Gabe.
This is, I mean, so I'm probably doing KDB to Son, but for free, worth a hit? Probably not.
Yeah,
That's
tough,
a
isn't it?
tough hit to take. And yet again, knowing my track record with Spurs, it probably is worth a hit. So
I
it's no
think the
help.
issue is with it is that, you know, I do think that Spurs are probably the standout team for the last 2 game weeks. And I'm prepared to go all in on them, being quite frank. I've already got 2. I'm in a good position to be able to bring in a third, but that probably means wiping out either Mahrez, who, you know, let's face it, I'll make that decision after what happens this week, because they've got West Ham, which isn't particularly easy, right? It's not the hardest of games, but it's not particularly easy either. Or Reece James. And we all know what will happen if I took Reece James out, don't you? He'll play wing back.
Go on and do it already, Mariner.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I personally have a lot to say about Spurs. I'm very, very hot on them at the moment. I know you're not quite anyway.
No, I mean, I think no. I have to learn the lesson, and especially with the fixtures they have. You know, I'm going KDB to Son. I could go someone else, maybe to Kulusevski. I'm not sure if I can afford one of my cheap guys to Kulusevski. That'll probably be for 38, if anything. Yeah, you can't ignore it. You can't ignore Spurs like I have.
No. Anyway, Andy. It's Andy Martin. My brother-in-law now watches this. Hello, brother-in-law.
Hey
Question. I feel it's close between punting on a Villa defender, midfielder or forward. Would you expect 1 clean sheet from Villa?
Yes. One.
I think I would. Yes.
Yeah.
I think I would. As I say, I think there's some decent options there. We already mentioned that there's Dean. Although if you want to, his Gabe's probably put the cast the spell on him now. The Rumi spell is on Luke Dean. So maybe you want to go for Mike Cash.
It's the Rumi curse of the week.
Yeah. The curse of the week.
The curse of the week.
That's right. Here's one. Interesting. Chelsea with something to play for at home to an on-the-beach Leicester would normally be a prime fixture. Anything for free hit 37. Lukaku resurrection. Interesting, Lukaku, actually, because
it is
I'll tell you
interesting.
what, the moment he scored, it was like someone just flicked a switch.
Yeah.
He went from someone who couldn't hit a barn door from a yard to someone who looked like the Lukaku we know is there somewhere inside him. Right? And I think we need to watch what's happening. My personal view on Lukaku, and I mean, obviously I can't get to him anyway, but my personal view is we have to watch this. What happens tomorrow? Does he get another goal tomorrow? Does he play on Saturday? If he gets another goal and maybe just gets a few minutes on Saturday, I think I'd go. I think I might punt on him. I think I might punt on him.
On free hit, I'd love the shout on free hit. I think, and I think Tuchel has to play him. Yeah, you have to start getting the team set up for next season. They do have something to play for. Leicester is a defense that can be taken advantage of, and I think it would be good for Lukaku's confidence if he can get the type of service he got in the other game. That pass from Pulisic was fantastic, perfectly weighted. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Here's the questions. Cannon fodder. Should I sell Salah for Son or De Bruyne? Zod. I'm looking at Salah to Son for a Spurs triple up. I think they'll decimate Burnley. You know, any more Salah questions? No, there aren't. Only 2 there. Right. Do we sell Salah for Son or De Bruyne? No.
Do not sell the player chasing the golden boot with Son on his heels. Get both of those players. You need Son, you need Salah. They're both chasing the golden boot, and they're going to want that. They're going to be hungry for it.
Find a way if you can. I mean, thankfully I own them both. Both are super. I wouldn't take either of them out. I mean, look, again, I think what you've got to do is think about where you are. What is your situation right now? Where are you in the mini leagues? Who owns who in the mini leagues? What moves do you think people are going to make in the mini leagues even right now? Right? Because we're getting to the end game. We're getting to the point where we need to look at what we need to do to try and climb the ranks or win a mini league, secure a mini league, perhaps save your number one rank in the country, which I'm only 4 points clear in Singapore right now. You know, we've got to try and find a way to either protect or try to gain. But I think sometimes the risk is by forcing it, and I've done it before, and I said last week, if anyone listened to last week's show, when I said I forced Werner in for Ronaldo, that was a huge mistake. A huge mistake. So I think I would considering Salah to Son a forced move.
Yeah, I agree. There's another question here. I think we missed it. It's a little bit higher up from Bradley Curry. What do we reckon Richarlison's EO will be in 37? In the top 10K, it was 38% this past game week in 36. I'd expect it to be over 50% in the top 10K and 37 with that double.
Well, people will bring him in. People might still be bringing him in as well, and people will be free hitting him in as well. So Some people will be bringing him in naturally. Some people will be. I mean, I might bring him in even for just one game week, perhaps play him against Arsenal as well if I need to, or I could take him out for Tony. So people may bring him in. People may free hit him in. I would think it's maybe going to be a bit higher than that. I think it's a bit higher. I think that's why I'm concerned. I can see it being 70.
Wow, you think it'll almost double?
60 to 70. I don't think it'd be much higher than that because I think there's so many other good options. Salah, Son, players like the casuals will go a certain way, but obviously at the higher ranks, he's already quite had. I don't know what Richarlison's already owned in the top 100, for example. I've not checked that yet. That's sort of stuff I've got to do. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at sites like FPL Optimized, and I'm going to see what protects me the most. What gives me some upside, but what protects me too. And I think that's what I'm going to play. That's how I'm going to play for the rest of the season. All right. Any other questions? Here we go. So we've got another Cannon Fodder. Cannon Fodder again. What a great name. I love it. So, cricketer. A poor cricketer. Someone who bats number 11. Cannon Fodder. You don't know cricket. It's a strange game.
It looks very strange.
Can't explain it to you. You got a hat on. That's what it is. I can't explain it. Anyway,
can't explain anything to me.
Cannon Fodder says, does it make sense to get rid of Coutinho, Mount, or Saka for Zaha? Ooh.
Mount.
Do you think? I think if I had Mount now, I think I might hold him.
Yeah, no, you might. Yeah, you want to hold him.
Would I hold Saka? I think. Look, if I was going anywhere, given this is what you've said today, on basis what you've said today about the possibility that Buendia will play one of the two games, I think I'd get rid of Coutinho. But that's I think I'd hold Saka.
Yes.
I think I'd hold Saka, but you could bench Saka this week. Is a genuine thought against Newcastle, but they've got Everton last game of the season. Arsenal have still got something to play for. Everton are crap away from home. They've still got something to play for. That could be 4-4. That last game of the season. Honest. It could be mental. There could be loads of goals in that game. Genuinely loads. I think I'd probably sell Coutinho because he's going the week after next anyway. You've got two games. If your player's won, do you want Coutinho for one game till the end of the season? Probably not.
No.
Probably not.
Let's say.
Oh, hang on, we've got another one. So we've got Nehal. We've got Nehal there. Oh, that is literally me in cricket. Haha, I'm useless. Is that why your name is there, mate?
Yeah, that's a
I used to open the batting just to let you know. There we go. Nehal again. Thoughts on the free hit team? Picky.
Ding. Yes.
Picky.
Possessed Picky.
Picky. Rumi. We've got Picky. Rumi. Cash. Trent. Salah. Son. Zaha. Gordon. Richie Kane. Watkins. Whoa.
It's a great team. Love it.
I love it. Yeah.
Love it.
I really like it. Yeah. I would. Yeah. Or option 2, is Picky, Rumi, as in Luca Dean, just like Cancelo, Trent, Salah, Zaha, Son, Gordon. The Cancelo one you could oppose against West Ham, maybe. Could oppose. There's a distinct lack of City players in that, isn't there? In both options, right? Interestingly enough. It says quite a bit there. That might be the way to go. I like the first one. What about you, Gabe?
So the first one we're looking at. Let's see, we're looking at Cash versus Cancelo. Is that it? Is that?
Yeah, it looks like it. Looks like Cash or Cancelo.
Cash or Cancelo? That's an interesting conversation right there.
Yeah, 2 against 1. 2 players against 1 player.
Given that you already have Dean, I think it depends on what your situation is. If you are trying to protect rank, if you are highly ranked right now, Nehal, I might go Cancelo over Cash to have some City covered.
He's doubling up on Villa defense there.
He is, and I think if you're chasing rank and you want to get into the top 10K or get into the 100K or top 1,000 or something.
He forgot Mane. I don't know which side. Oh, Mane in the second in option 2. So,
Mine is in there instead of. Oh, it's just with Mane. Yeah, I mean that does make it tougher.
It's basically in option 2. It's basically Kane versus Mane.
Kane versus Mane.
I mean, look, if you're chasing rank, but don't. The trouble is, you've got to keep an eye on what's happening in the cup final, right?
Yeah.
Because Mane's played tonight. If he plays a lot, he might. Well, I mean, it's Southampton, but he could rest. So I think I'd sit on those options. I quite like the Mane shout. You know me, I love Mane at the end of the season.
So Mane and Cancelo versus Kane and Cash. I think I like Mane and Cancelo. Kind of.
Yeah. Okay, have we got any more quick ones before we get out of here?
So he says he's at 40K.
Right. Okay. Is a question. Is a statement rather than a question. Leandro Trossard is going to outscore everyone for game week 37 and game week 38. Do you know what? He might just do that.
All of a sudden, Brighton are scoring goals. They're finishing. I don't know what the hell's going on over there.
I'll tell you what. He did sort of like make a fleeting appearance in my team this week. It was like a little look as to what I might do with Mahrez.
It's a little prairie dog moment.
Yeah,
Popping up to see what's going on.
I've had a look. Right, okay. Wop asks, Kane, brackets Jota/Diaz, or KDB and Zaha. So Kane and Jota or Diaz, or KDB and Zaha. Well, I think the minutes risk for Jota and Diaz. Can you nail who's going to start out of those?
No, that's the risk. We don't know if you're on free hit or if this is a free transfer. And also I'm assuming the WAP has Son. If you have Son, go Son and Zaha, I guess.
Yeah, KDB. If you're looking at just this option here, I would say wait until the cup final.
Yeah.
First things first. Wait till the cup final. See if one of them rested. First things first. And then look at it with that option of either Jota or Diaz against KDB or Zaha is how I would probably suggest it at the moment. A little bit too much variance at the moment to be able to get to a conclusion, I think. Okay, Gabe, I think we'll call it a day.
Right.
What else is there to say? I mean, first of all, thank you very much, everybody, for the conversations, which have been great. Honestly, it's amazing seeing all the chit chat in the chat as always. Some great comments as well. It's been an absolute pleasure to be on. This is my last game week of the season. I am not on next week. So from my point of view, what I just want to say, everybody, is it's been an absolute pleasure. We are trying to decide whether we do anything for the week after Game Week 38. We may do a wrap-up show just before we go. I think I'd like to, but I think it depends whether we can nail everybody to be able to. So I want to do it with all three. I don't want it to be just one or just two of us. So, look, I'll keep in touch with everybody on Twitter or in the chat on YouTube, this, that, and the other. But Gabe, over to you. What are you hoping for this weekend? Just some,
some
slap a bit of sunscreen on, bit of beach.
Yeah, but hopefully take a nap.
You know what I mean?
Take a nap, look at things from a distance, and be thankful I'm alive.
Yeah. And have you just in closing? There's a question here from Ante. What's your favourite FPL moment ever? There we go. What would that be? Have you got one? Can you think what it is? I think I can think of yours.
Starting with Net That Haul.
Oh, that's lovely. I was going to say your Gundogan triple captain.
Gundogan triple captain. Yeah, that was probably it. I had the thing is that my memory's terrible. So I don't remember 3 weeks ago. I once captained Sterling when he was 4% owned, and he rocketed me up close to 10K. That was the season I finished at 14, I think it was 14K. It was my best ever finish. But yeah, the Gundogan triple captain I think was had to be the moment because I had so many friends congratulating me on Twitter.
Yeah, it was lovely that.
It was nice to share that with.
I remember that. My best moment of the season was the double Son and Kulusevski returns this last week, I think. Or right at the start of the season, Ben Rama and Antonio.
That was fun. First game week this season was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that's where I was. Yeah. All right. Let us get the hell out of here.
That's what I should have said.
There we go. So let me go to the thing. Let's get the hell out of here. Gabe, as always, a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on. Haulers, thank you very much. Good luck for the rest of the season. Hit like, hit subscribe, give us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple or wherever you are. Become a member. Keep in touch and net that haul.
See you on the beach.
Anything else than that. All the best, guys. I'm just going to line up the exit, which I can't find. Here we go. All the best, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
See ya.